Welcome to Mastering Local Marketing. My name is Matt Hanson, and I am here with Allyson Straka from Frozen Garden. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. So we are going to do a little special episode today. We're in the middle of shooting our digital marketing competition, the finals that we do. And Allyson and I were sitting here and we're having a really good conversation about audiences and who we go after. So we thought we would take a few moments to just kind of discuss that. I think there's some interesting things that we've talked about today, but we still have 3 more student teams to listen to. But one of the things that we were talking about is that these students that are pitching to us today are pitching to Frozen Garden to go after a new audience. So an audience that you currently don't go after, right? So
right.
Who do you believe your current audience has been for the last 10 years?
Well, what we thought our current audience was a professional woman in her 40s.
Okay. And then what have you recently found using a lot more data?
We uncovered an app that attached to our Shopify store and analyzed all of our actual customers. And it ends up that the average age of our customer is 58, much older. We had the woman right, 80-20, female to men. But that 25% of our customers are over the age of 65.
Okay, so you have an older demographic, and obviously we're listening to a variety of presentations, pitches from college students across the world, and they're pitching us in a variety of different ways. I mean, we've heard everything from, in this whole process, everything from college students all the way to retirees and even businesses. So, where in your mind, right? So you've done this for 10 years, you had kind of this audience that you were going after, and now you've kind of realized you've pulled data to say that my audience is a little bit older, a little bit different than I thought. Mm-hmm. But what would you say to our listeners out there that are looking at their audience going, I know my audience, I know who they are. I mean, just based on your own expertise here.
Yeah, I mean, right, assumptions can make a, out of you and me or whatever that, how that phrase goes is just because who you're targeting, you think that that's who's buying, and that's obviously not true. So when I saw all of this data and saw how much older our demographic was, and we've never targeted a demographic that old. So if we're naturally getting that demographic without even targeting them, to me, that is guiding me that we are looking in the wrong direction. We shouldn't be leaning into the older demographic because they're finding us and we're not even looking for them.
Right.
So that's super powerful instead of just trying to break into something that isn't a natural fit. Obviously, this older demographic is a natural fit for our brand, and we didn't even know. So
what are some of the tools that you use to do that analysis?
Well, it was this, I was fed a Facebook ad for this app called Outer Signal. Mm-hmm. And they marketed it as you can find out who famous is ordering from you. And maybe that's why I did it. I pulled it up and was interesting, let's see. I'll do anything for the free trial just to see. But then when I saw what it was pulling in, and that next thing I knew, I was upgrading and paying to go back through all of our data. It took probably overnight to go through everything. But it then pulled in average age, average value of their home. But then you could even dig in and figure out the different personas of the people that were buying from us. And that was super interesting. It was 18% were small business owners like me. Mm-hmm. So some, again, we're not targeting small business owners in our marketing. Right. 18% was healthcare workers.
Okay.
Another thing I never thought of, this whole 12-hour shift, night shift worker thing. That was a whole thing that was interesting to me. And then another 17% was that longevity senior, 65 plus, which was super interesting. So they created personas, and then obviously they're using AI to do all this, mm-hmm. right? They're making assumptions based off of what they're finding. But that AI is a lot smarter at analyzing that amount of data than I am by just going in and looking at our top 10 customers. Our top 10 customers are all very different. We're 80% women, 20% men, but our number one customer is a male doctor in his 40s, right? But that doesn't. So I assume you're running assumptions, but that's not the majority of who's buying.
So who's the biggest celebrity buying?
Oh, is this going to... Well,
say it?
I don't know.
We'll try it.
Chase Crawford from Gossip Girl buys our smoothies.
Okay.
So,
nice.
Yeah, that was kind of cool.
Very cool. So, all right. So you've got all these personas that it's popped out with, right? So you said 8.
Yes.
And we're listening, again, we're taking a break from our digital marketing competition and listening to student pitches. And they don't know we're doing this. So when they hear this afterward, it'll probably be a little interesting for them. But, some of these schools are already hitting on the exact personas that you've uncovered using this data. So they're doing the same thing that you're doing, but they're doing it from an outside perspective. Yeah. So, obviously the reason that you are listening to these ideas is because that was an aha moment for you, right?
Yes.
Okay. So with those 8 personas, you have kind of changed the way you're looking at your business and where you're going forward, right? So you've hired a new content person that's coming in. You've got new talent that's coming in to kind of like build on all of these ideas.
Yes.
And where do you think that's going to go? Like, what are you most excited about with those audiences?
Well, I think we've always historically created content that's very generic, that's very just like real food smoothies. Want fruits and veggies? Drink a smoothie. Where now we're going to get way more niche in who we're talking to. So we're going to be able to take those different personas and even just take, let's say, a healthcare worker. What are the things that they care about? If they're working longer shifts than they're working odd hour shifts. So we can like totally lean into that messaging just to be able to narrow in on that persona instead of this generic kind of catch all. And so hopefully we're able to bring our customer acquisition costs down because we're talking more directly to who the buyer is.
Yeah, I think what most people do is they try to just put kind of a generic message out there to cover everyone. And, you've heard it before. Yes. My target market is everyone, anyone that will buy from me. And you have to look at that and go, well, yeah, that's great. Anyone can buy from you. But if you're pitching me and I'm a 18-year-old male and the target is a 65-year-old female, it's a little bit of a disconnect when I see the ad. So we feel, or at least I feel, you have to have campaigns and you have to have that messaging go all the way through. And we're hearing a lot today about microsites and kind of like these smaller content strategies that are guiding these principles. So, is that with these 8 personas that you have, I'm sure you have, and I'm not going to make you say which ones you're going to go after right away, but I feel like you've got these 8 personas and you're taking inventory here and you're understanding, you're learning from all the data that's out there. And you're taking inventory because you're going to implement these things. And you're saying this to the world, and I'm saying this to the world, is the fact that one message to all is not, it's fine. It's not going to take you to that next level.
Correct.
But if you can silo it out in those content strategies for each one of those audiences, it's going to hit home, right? So if you are an 18-year-old male that's looking for quick food and athlete, whatever it may be, that's one thing. If you are a retiree at a luxury nursing home, or you are an HR manager, or whatever it is, like there's all these different people that we can talk to, but that one message is not going to resonate. So I think that's what we're talking about today. We just kind of, we wanted to take some time and just really talk about it. But is there any other tools that you can recommend out there that you've used in the past or that others are using?
We have an ad testing strategy that we use on Meta that I'll throw out from this company out of Ohio called E-Commerce Alley, that we can take these different personas, these different target markets, and we can very quickly test them in Meta's platform. By being hyper niche, hyper specific in our messaging, our creative, we can throw it out there and we can see if the algorithm picks up on it and it starts getting purchases. And if we start to see some successes in a specific niche, then we can do the work of building out a landing page. Maybe having a microsite that doesn't confuse the B2B customer to the D2C customer. But it's a way to quickly learn without getting overwhelmed with everything you would have to do to fully rein in this customer. If Meta picks up on it and starts spending, that means Meta likes it, so that's exciting. And then if you start getting purchases, that means it's actually talking to the person that you want. And if it doesn't, then you don't waste the time building out the landing pages and doing all of that. Right. So I definitely suggest taking it in pieces and doing those tests first to know where to focus your time.
Yeah, I think we see it often where somebody will go all in on an audience without actually knowing anything about it. They'll build, I think we do this more often than not. We build the website, the microsite, we build all the content, and then we go, okay, how do we find those individuals?
Yeah.
What you're saying is you're doing it the opposite way. Right. So saves time.
Yes.
Saves energy, saves frustration, right? So all these different things. But okay, so what we've learned today so far in the competition that we're listening to is we've had 3 different student agencies pitch to us today, and they've had 3 completely different audiences. And that's by no coincidence, because we've asked them to find one. So I'm curious to see where the rest of it goes. So anyone that's listening to this, if you ever want to see what they do end up coming up with, you can always go to digitalmarketingcompetition.com and see the winners. But we're only halfway there, so we've got to get going. But I just wanted to jump in today and see how you were attacking kind of each one of these different audiences, and get our listeners to really start to think about that just because you're going after one audience doesn't mean that there's not a handful of others that are out there that may or may not be much more profitable, right?
Yep.
Okay. Until next time, we will see you later.